Thank you for tuning in to Behavior Resource and Advocacy Network's new series entitled Pathways to Bridging the Gap. With this series, our mission is to empower parents and caregivers with insights, strategies, and resources for student success. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Hello, everyone, and thank you all so much for tuning in to Pathways to Bridging the Gap series. My name is Keenisha Protho. I am the owner of Behavior Resource and Advocacy Network, where we provide educational advocacy services for youth in schools with behavior or mental health related challenges. With this series, our goal is to empower parents and caregivers with insights, strategies, and resources for student success. We do that by bringing in professionals from various aspects of the school setting to share their knowledge and their expertise. And today we have Mrs. Rebecca Skinner, who is a school principal. Hey, looking very, very gorgeous this morning. And so we're going to ask her a few questions so that she can, again, give us her insight, particularly in regards to effective communication with schools. And so, Mrs. Rebecca Skinner, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your role as school principal.
Well, thank you so much, Keenisha, for having me on this morning. Let me say, as she stated, my name is Rebecca Skinner. I am currently an alternative school principal. We service scholars 10 through 12. And so really within this particular setting, it is not a behavioral school, but it is a school for scholars who may be dealing with some social, emotional issues, some traumas, that cannot handle being in a 2,000 plus person high school, right? That have also academic needs with they need individualized instruction, some more direct support when it comes to their academic growth and development. And so that's where we are. Now, some of our scholars, they do have some issues. Some of them like to fight, but really it is changing the trajectory of ensuring that they graduate with a high school diploma in a smaller setting. And so that is really the group of scholars we serve. In my school is very small. So like our capacity is 85. So that when we talk about individualized instruction, we talking about true individualized instruction. I think our biggest class right now is 13 kids in a class. So being able
Wow.
to really support the whole child, also with their social emotional needs, because we do have those resources there. That's what we do. Been in education for this is 12 years. I feel like it's been fast and furious. But this is my second go round at being the head principal, but been in administration for a minute now. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I love it. I love it. And it sounds like y'all have really like small class sizes. And so that
Right.
is amazing. And like you said, I feel like that gives y'all the ability to be able to, like you said, provide that individualized instruction and really be able to cater to their needs. So that is absolutely amazing. And I'm sure you have an amazing staff there. And so that is amazing and great work that you have been doing. And so I think you would be, of course, the perfect person to come and talk to us about what effective communication might look like, to give, again, parents a little bit more, or parents and caregivers a little bit more insight into what that looks like in real time. And
Mhm.
so our first question, what does effective communication look like in the context of advocating for a child's needs at school? What's your perspective on that?
The first thing is showing up. I think that is the biggest piece, especially for our high school scholars. Um, and in my particular setting, for some, they have been uh through the ringer when it comes to their public school education. And sometimes by the time they get to us, some have really lost hope and really take a hands-off approach. However, like we need everyone to be a part of this plan and creating an individualized plan of success for every scholar that we serve, as particularly with those who have exceptionalities, who have an IEP, have a 504, all those things. So the first thing is showing up, like
Mhm.
we believe, and I believe that um, a family is bringing the best of what they got, because these are the only kids that they got, y'all. It ain't getting no better. This is who they got, right? And so being present, and also sharing. You're not bothering us. Like, we
Mm.
want to hear from our families, because you know them better than we know them,
Yeah.
even though we
Yeah.
might be with them for 8 hours a day. But I think the biggest thing, number one, first thing, showing up. Number
Mhm.
two, recognize that it is your job to advocate, because what? That is your child. And so we want to ensure that we're doing with the resources that we have. We want to ensure that we are meeting the scholars' needs. You've been through them K-12 or however long, whatever grade that they're in. And so
Yeah.
you know all of the various challenges, the hurdles, the glows, the grows that have happened with your scholar's academic experience. And
Yeah.
so we need your expertise. We need that expertise from a parent perspective about what they've already experienced, what has worked, what hasn't worked. Because I refuse to waste our time doing something that y'all already been through and it's not effective. So for me, because time is of it. By the time they get to me, time is of the essence, because we on the
Yeah.
tail end of public education, right? And so for me, that boy showing up, child, I need you to show up. And
Hmm.
number two, know that it is your job to advocate. You're not bothering anybody. You think, oh, I don't want them to be overbearing, then take it out on my child. No, we want to hear your voice, because you have the background that we need. We just have the black and white background. What's in the IEP? What's in the 504 plan? We got that. But you have the actual hands-on experience of what has actually happened, what's worked and what hasn't worked.
That is really good. So I'm trying not to talk as you're talking because I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Because as an educational advocate, I hear that a lot in terms of sometimes where parents are saying, like, I only hear from the school when there's something wrong, or when I have to pick them up, or when there's, something negative, right? And so I feel like that goes to what you're saying and making sure that parents are just showing up. So showing up to those conferences and even just initiating conversation. Hey, my name is, Keenisha. This is my daughter. And kind of maybe giving some insight, like you said, some background as to like what they've been through, what they've gone through, because that will help you guys as you guide them through their educational experience. And I also really, really love that you said the expert, because you have expertise, right? And knowledge, and you've been to school for this, you've trained for this. But when you say that parents have their expertise, that is so true. You are the expert when it comes to your child. You are the biggest advocate when it comes to your child, because no one, regardless of whether you have an educational advocate involved or not, no one is going to advocate for your child in the manner that you would, because you're right. You are the expert in their lives. And so the school wants that communication. They want to be able to hear from you. So that is perfect. That is spot on. And I feel like it kind of like goes into like our next question a little bit. And so what do you think would be an effective way for parents to initiate the conversation with teachers about their child's needs? Like, what would be the best way for them to go about that?
Well, my hope is that every school has an opportunity before school begins that invites families to come,
Yeah.
meet and greet, meet the teacher, back to school night. We call them family advocacy days in my district.
Mm.
And literally, the fact that it's called family advocacy days, this is the set aside time in our district where we say, hey, this is your opportunity before school even gets started for you to advocate for your needs. And so um uh taking advantage again, showing up, y'all. I know that you're busy, but the most effective way to get the conversation going is showing your face. Hello, my name is da 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 da, like you just said, right? Um, I encountered a teach not a teacher, a parent at the beginning of the year before the school started. Their child goes to my school, but they also work in our district. And so she made it a point to come find me at convocation, say, hello, my name is such and such. You have my child. They're a senior. Yes, they have an IEP, but I know you need to take care of them. Very good, ma'am. And so just even starting that, just
Yeah.
making yourself known, letting them know you got an issue, call me. You like all of those things. And so I feel like whenever there is an opportunity, but even before school starts, for you to show up in the place, show your face, introduce your child if they're new to the building, have the conversations with their, I don't know, depending on where you're at in the country or in the district, if they got homeroom, if they have an advocacy teacher or a person that there is their point person throughout their progression in that particular school, their counselor, whoever it is, their case manager when it comes to the IEP, or the speech pathologist, all the various things that scholars need. Meeting them, letting them know about some things that you're excited about, even if there's some goals that you have put in place at home that we want to be made aware of so that we can support in that, we want to do that. And so I think number one, I don't know, I feel like that's the main thing. I need you to show up, darling. If I need you to show up, that's what it is.
And it sounds like too, you're saying like starting that conversation like with just a positive, like on a positive note, right? On a positive, like kind of welcoming note, even if it is something, negative or bad, maybe that you have to say, who knows, but just starting that conversation with, hello, I am, and this is my baby, or this is my child, and this is what, I want you to know about them. So absolutely. So our next question, how can parents prepare for meetings to ensure they communicate their child's needs appropriately? Now, the reason I brought this up is because as an educational advocate, I've seen times where tensions can be high, right? And I know that as a school principal, you have been in those situations where sometimes the parents come to the meeting like this, because what you're not going to do is like, sometimes it can be like, okay, hold on, wait, everybody take a deep breath and breathe, right? And remember that we're all on the same page. So I won't put words in your mouth, but I know you've been there. You've been in those type of situations. So how do you think, in your words, in your perspective, how can parents prepare for meetings in order to get their voice heard in an appropriate manner?
Well, I'm gonna. It seems to me my experiences have been when I am in a heated meeting. A lot of the time, it's either dealing with discipline or an IEP review. And I want to specifically talk about, when we're having an IEP meeting, if we're having an annual review or we have an amendment meeting. The case manager should have sent out the documentation legally either 10 days prior to the meeting, notice of the meeting, all of that.
Yes.
Right. So the case manager, they got to be doing their due diligence of making sure that they're providing the information in a timely manner so that when this family gets to the meeting, they're not lost, dazed, and confused. So number one, I got to make sure that my team is doing what they need to do to equip you with what you need before you come to the meeting. Once I've made sure that my team has done what they're supposed to do to ensure that you have the correct documentation, you're aware of the meeting, you have agreed to say, yeah, we can make that time, yeah, virtual, yeah, in person, with all of that, perfect. That case manager is also supposed to send the IEP and go through step by step. My job is a legal document, and at the end of this, because I'm serving as the LEA, I got to sign off on it. So your girl needs to read as well, right? Because the role of the principal is also be there as a support to the family to ensure that they understand what is happening, what is being said in the IEP, clarifying any questions, It's not just to support the case manager, not just to support the gen ed teacher who might be there to support, but my job is also to support both parties so that everybody's on the same page. But what we need from the families, I need you to know what's in your child's IEP. That's what I need. I need you to know what is in the document. I need to know what is in the legal document that will follow your child on for years to come, right? And so my first tip, read the IEP.
Tip number one.
Read the IEP. I think we would save ourselves a lot of headaches if everybody went through the IEP with a fine-tooth comb, specifically the family. Because if something is incorrect, this is your kid, yes, right? We dealing with thousands sometimes. Some case managers got 120 on their caseload. and they missed something. But baby, this is your child. Hey, catch us, call us out. Hey, I was reading in the IEP this, and this. I don't believe that we agreed that, there's some changes in date, like errors in dates, all of this. Like, so we need you to read the IEP, beloved. I need you to read that. I need you to read the document. I need you to read the 504 plan, whatever it is, whatever document we're coming to talk about or whatever supports, be equipped and armed with what is in there. That's the first tip. That's the first tip. The next is, if you have been made aware, even prior to coming to the meeting, that there are certain accommodations and modifications that are not being followed, I want to know that. Because that means either my team doesn't know the modifications and accommodations, which they should, because everybody receives the at a glance for the kids that they have on their schedules. Or if it is a skill issue, like they don't know how to meet the accommodation or the modification, or if it's a will. At the end of the day, I'm their boss, so I need to handle that. I want to know, you know what I mean? I shouldn't be finding out that accommodations and modifications are not happening in this IEP meeting. Because also the case manager or the spare parent or whatever support, they should already put me on game too, because I'd be mad at my staff too. Well, why you ain't put me on game? You be in there supporting. They're not making a modification. What's going, so I can handle that, you know what I mean? But I don't want that to happen. I don't want to know that coming into this meeting. So what I would say is, the moment that you find out that there is something not aligned, that we are not meeting the needs, that we are not actually implementing the modifications and the accommodations that are set in the legal document, I need you to send me an email, darling. CC the case manager on there. I know people talk about the chain of command because the case manager don't want to get in trouble neither. But at the end of the day, who's on the chopping block if something go down? Me, because it's my building. So, so share. Do not feel as though you are bothering anybody or you're being a difficult parent. Because if my child had an IEP or a 504 or any type of legal document that is supposed to help them in their academic, your girl is going to be in the number, making sure I know what's going on. Are they making the modifications? Are we Because I know, because that's me. That's the type of parent I am. So that's the second thing. Be proactive. The moment you hear something is awry, I need you to make me aware, and it's not because I don't want to know that I don't know, but we got 50,000 other things going on. However, I got to sign off on this documentation for the school district saying, hey, we're going to implement this plan.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would be my second thing, is to share. Let us know when something is awry, right? And then I would say, is to ask questions when you are in the meeting.
Yep.
We all in there. We ain't going nowhere. Ask questions. If you need an interpreter, let us know before the meeting so we can set up our interpreter services. If making sure that we have the documents in your language that you need to be able to read and comprehend and understand. But we want you to ask questions, because a lot of times, we got this academic vocabulary and legalese and and everybody don't know that. And that's okay. So in the IEP meeting, in the 504 meeting, whenever we're meeting, there's no dumb question. I don't want you to leave out of this meeting if we've been in here 2 hours and you still lost. Now, we shouldn't even we ain't no way that we in this meeting 2 hours, because I'm going to cut it anyway. But ask the question.
Yeah.
We need you to ask questions. And if you have an advocate with you, because you believe that the accommodations are not being met and modifications aren't being done and we're not following the legal document with fidelity, now this is just on a personal, if we have a great relationship, I would love to know if an advocate is coming. Because if I find out, then I also have to have support for myself, because again, I'm trained, but I am not a trained special education educator at all. I just know my role and how I'm supposed to support in the process. So then I can get the support I need from our spirit coordinator or whatever coordinator, behavior services, all of that they're able to be in that meeting too, that they may be able to speak to some things that I can't not speak to because I don't know everything either. So, I ain't got no problem with you bringing your support. You know what I mean? Let us know so that we also can prepare so that at the end of the day, this is a great meeting because at the end of the day, we all are on the same team. We're trying to ensure that the scholar gets the best education possible with the right accommodations and modifications. So I know I said a whole lot, but to summarize, right? Number one, I need you to know what the document says, beloved. I need you to know it, right? Because you signed off on it too. So I need you to know what's in there, right? Number two, the moment that something is awry, make the building principal aware. CC, I don't care about CC. You CC whoever you want to know on there. But so then everybody's held accountable. I don't mind being held accountable by being put on notice about something. So CC whoever you need to CC on there, but I want to know. Number three, ask the questions. And I feel like I missed some, but it is ask questions. Those are my top three things as far as preparing for a meeting and even in the meeting, how do you engage in the meeting.
And I believe you also mentioned too, like if they do have an advocate, to make sure that you're aware too, like so that you can also be prepared. So we want both parties basically to be prepared, right? We want the parent to be prepared by reading through the IEP, maybe reading through several times. And I think that with that comes, from what you mentioned, that the case manager will have already sent you what's called a draft copy of the IEP. So it's a draft because it's not set in stone yet until you sign off. And so, like you said, the parent will have already seen that. They've gone through it. And sometimes I tell my parents to make notes. Get you a pen, pencil, what have you, a highlighter or whatever, go through, make notes so that you are prepared for when you come to the meeting. And like you said, to ask questions. There have been so many times, like in my experience, not as an advocate, but when I worked in the schools, where you could just see the look on parents' faces that they were confused. You could just see it. And a lot of times, if they don't speak up and say, you know what, I'm not really too sure about that acronym that you use. Can you tell me, what that means? And then, of course, the principal or whoever, is present in the meeting, they'll ask, do we have any questions before we move on? And there's been so many times where I've seen they look confused, but they'll say, it's okay, we can move on. And in my mind, again, I'm working for the school, so I can't say, hold on, stop. Are you sure? Right. Or is there something else you want to, go over? I just didn't feel, I just felt if they said they're okay, we don't want to, bring attention to it or what have you. So I agree 100% with everything that you said. It's important.
Can I say something else?
Yes.
Another thing that I'm I know I'm not speaking in a professional tone when I said that, but
it's okay.
It grinds my gears. If you got something else to do, request a new meeting time.
Okay, don't multitask.
I really struggle. If we've agreed to a virtual meeting, you in the car picking up kids, you halfway listening to what's going on. Listen. I know that we all have a lot to do. However, this is important. It is a legal document. And so it is imperative so that, again, you can't, because I don't want nothing to come back on the parent anytime. I ain't said nothing to me. Well, ma'am, ma'am, sir,
You're the car at the time, so I don't know if you're.
The other piece is, again, showing up fully present, that this is what is important right now. That I would think that's the other piece. That's
yes. So making sure we are carving out time where we are able to completely give our undivided attention to the current IEP meeting. Even if you are in the car, you're going here or going there, but that you pull over maybe, or that you're in an area where you are able to be fully present. So I've seen that too, and you're absolutely right, because parents do wear 10,000 hats. You and I are both parents. We know we wear 10,000 hats on any given day, but basically during that meeting time, full undivided attention.
Correct, because as the building principal, I have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have to stop my entire day and be fully present in this meeting. And whenever I'm in a meeting, if it's virtual, I have a sign outside my door says in the meeting that they already know. Don't knock on this door because I'm engaged right now. So yeah, that's my other thing.
Yes, ma'am. And you know what? I feel like you kind of answered this already. But how can parents work collaboratively with teachers and school staff to develop effective solutions for their child? So again, I feel like you've kind of already, really answered this, but I'll let you give us your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that I may not have spoken about outside of emailing the building leader is communicate with the teachers. Um, I, mm, educated teaching is very personal, but educators, they get a little upset when you just go straight to the principal. The principal is not in there teaching. uh, the principal is not engaged with your scholar in direct instruction on a daily basis. Now I'm in there observing. I'm in classroom every doggone day, darling. But what's happening in the specific classroom where there are accommodations, because the other piece is with knowing your documentation, you need to know where these accommodations and modifications fall. You
Mm,
need to make sure the assumption, you cannot assume if it's not in the IEP that this is for all classes. If it's specifically math minutes or English direct minutes or da 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 da, it is imperative that again that documentation, because I would hate for a parent to reach out about an accommodation being made. It's not an IEP, you know,
mm,
or not in the plan. And so I would encourage that you reach out to teachers, um, and share your concerns. I think that's the first step, because
mhm.
that relationship got to be right, because they in it every day, and that's the same thing. We are a restorative school too, and
Yeah.
so the teacher always calling on me to solve their problem. Darling, I know that's the relationship you got to build and restore. Same thing with that scholar. Miss Skinny, no. Who is the teacher? Are
Mhm,
you in my classroom every day? No, you in that teacher's classroom every day. And so
mhm.
being able to have a relationship that's already established, again, the coming before
Yeah,
even school starts,
yeah,
knowing who the teachers are gonna be, sharing your contact information if you need it. I mean, I know we got it because whatever. But if you want to reshare it, what's the best way that you want to be communicated with?
right.
Um, but again, I think it is engaging on the front end, everybody.
Yes.
Everybody, not just the building principal, not just the case manager, but anybody who has a hand in your child's education. I need you to be engaged with them and have the relationship there, because that's what I'm going to ask. Well, have you spoke to the, have you spoke to the teacher? Do
Yeah,
they, do they even know that this is happening? You know what I mean? And don't even know. Do they know that your child can't hear?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so I think that's the last of the piece, man. Yeah, you got to have a good relationship with the teachers as well. That they got to know, because sometimes teachers assume that the parent just doesn't care, and so they
mhm.
don't. So when they reach out, they don't ever answer the phone or that, whatever. But I think that's the other piece. Build the strong relationship with the teachers as well, not just the
Yeah,
principal, the
yeah.
teachers. Mhm.
That's so important because one of the things that you said too is like, we have your contact information. However, we don't know what the best form of communication is for you.
Right.
Because if you're working all day and if you're working in a position, for example, that you can't just check your phone, that might be part of that communication, right? That might be necessary for teachers like, hey, this is my number, but maybe the line of work that I do, I am unavailable from
Right.
8:30 to 3:30 or whatever that time frame may be. But however, this is my lunch period, or this is when I can, or don't call me, text me because I'll see it and then I'll be able to respond because it's in, again, it's one of those things I can check it, when I'm off work, or I work midnights. I am asleep from
Yep.
7 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm out there. So you're not gonna be able to catch me. So that again, I think is what you said. in terms of building that communication first with the teacher, so that the teacher is not assuming, like you said, well, I did email them, or I did, like we have class dojo for our school, for my daughter's school. And so the teacher may be like, hey, I sent several messages, on dojo or what have you, and they never respond. And then again, on the back end, we found out, oh, again, they work midnights, so they're asleep most of the time. And then when they do get up, they go to the gym or they do this. And so then it's back to work all over again. So that is part of that too. I feel like working collaboratively. Well, when are you available, so that we are aware, so then we won't communicate with you, outside of those hours, or even sending notes in the kids' backpack, something, right? That is a way to still have that open line of communication, and just, for the school to be aware of what your, particular situation is. That's perfect. And so as we round this series out, I have one last question, Principal Skinner. What is the one thing that you wish more parents knew or were aware about when it comes to communicating with schools? What's the one thing you wish they knew?
I think I already said it already, but you are not bothering us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're not bothering us.
Yeah. We want to hear from you.
We do, especially on the high school level.
Yes.
Once
yes.
your child gets to high school, if they're not there yet, please don't start falling off just because they're getting older. No. Please stay engaged.
Yeah.
Stay engaged. Even if they think they grown, they ain't 18 yet. We need you in the meeting. Not bothering us with asking questions. You're not bothering us for calling. You're not bothering us. So I think that's the biggest thing is that you are not bothering us, and there is no dumb question when it comes to your child.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's all. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Principal Skinner. This has been a very, very informative conversation around communication for parents. And so I feel that we've hit on everything, and I hope that parents and caregivers have really been able to, grab something from this conversation that we've had. So until next time, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Pathways to Bridging the Gap series. Behavior Resource and Advocacy Network's goal is to always empower parents, caregivers, and communities with the tools and knowledge needed to advocate for youth in the school setting. Please tune in for further episodes. Please like, share, and subscribe.